One follower doesn't equate one moviegoer. If Sydney Sweeney's massive flop at the box office in a movie called Christy, otherwise directed by the great David Michôd, can teach us anything, it is that basic economic and marketing lesson. Going to the movies is miles away from retweeting or liking anything on X. I have to take a shower and put on clean clothes. I have to maybe call a few people to ask them if they want to come with me. Then travel how many miles to my nearest cinema. Pay $50 for a movie ticket and a popcorn. Sit down, watch the movie, go out, go back home and sit on my couch. That is personal economic engagement into a social activity. A retweet, a like, and a sneaky fap by a fat Texan dude doesn't mean shit, especially when the star of said movie is a conservative, proud Republican icon whose entire personal worth is all tied to her appeal and value as an object to men. Maybe it all happened despite her best self and everyone's trying to survive in Trump's America. Unfortunately, those guys will never be interested in seeing their icon Sydney Sweeney play a decidedly lesbian woman who was clearly abused by their system of domination and doesn't fit their sick ideal of what a woman should be like. I see where it makes sense for a studio to go, okay, we're gonna take that budding movie star who's got appeal in the horror genre and turn her into a proper movie star. That is the filmmaking story, and that is what sells the movie. The story behind the movie. Add to that an experienced, very talented director like David Michôd, and financiers love that kind of package. A hot package that you're gonna sell at Cannes. But really, if you think about your project way beyond the spreadsheet and way beyond the cool marketing idea, you are gonna take an heterosexual icon, a male director, and make a movie about the life of a female lesbian boxer. In this day and age, trying to follow the trend of edgy biopics. And at the time, it was a very sensible idea, I guess, because she hadn't altered herself really at that time. She was really new to the scene. We didn't really know who she would turn out to be as an actress and as a political spokesperson. And the movie that we got is not bad. Financiers and everyone around the project, they're stuck because they made a movie for no audience, because it isn't aimed at anyone, because it doesn't carry specific values that would bring in either group to the cinema. With that casting, you destroyed whatever soul this corporate project had in the first place. It's gone because the reality of the actors within the story that is making the movie doesn't match with the values and the ideas of the story they're trying to promote. And because it's so incoherent, you don't know who that movie is for. It's not for all the progressive people, it's not for women, it's not for the lesbian woman who might have been interested in seeing this movie, it's not for me as a trans lesbian woman, but it's also not for the boys. And that is when a Hollywood hot package doesn't actually match the story it wants to tell, when there's this paradoxical split between the industry, what the execs think would be a good film that works on paper, but that doesn't work in real life. The only lesson that the financiers are going to take in from this horrendous flop, we're talking a $1.3 million opening on a $10 million budget, 1/10 on the first weekend. The only lesson that they're gonna take is that nobody wants to see a lesbian sportswoman's biopic in the cinemas, that there is no audience for that. And it's not the problem. The problem isn't the story. The problem is the incoherent approach to making that film. The problem is that this film and the values of everyone involved don't match the actual values carried by the story, the values that would have made it interesting and make it a very good, appealing movie that people would go out and see and maybe seek out, because you wouldn't have that wide of a release with, say, Katie O'Brien in the film. Coherent, well-made films where the story of making the movie matches the film itself and matches the end product that people get to see on screen, they usually find an audience. They always do. The best counterexample to this situation comes in Love Lies Bleeding, directed by Rose Glass, starring Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien, which had a $10 million budget and made its money back. It made $12 million because it had an audience and it found it. That audience for lesbian movies exists. Okay, it's not the $100 million audience, but you're never gonna interest most of the American conservative people with a movie about a lesbian boxer. So if you make it for the fucking lesbians. Don't make it for anyone else. And then maybe people will show up. That's as simple as it is. And to do that, get maybe a female director, get maybe a lesbian main actress involved, do real commentary on the violence she suffered. Really, like, make a real fucking movie. So then the question after all this becomes, how do you bring people back to the cinema? The answer to the problem is very simple. James Gunn has it. I'll explain it to you as a director and a writer. That's the same answer that every decent filmmaker has. Make a fucking good movie. And to make a good movie, it starts with a coherent approach to filmmaking, the people you cast, the professionals you involve, and the story behind your movie. Is making your movie the story of the return of an old movie star, now old and wants to be different and change her image and come back in a meaningful role that makes sense in relationship to her past and what she lived through? That is The Last Showgirl by Coppola. Found its audience. How? Magic. It's just good and it's coherent so people can feel it in the critiques that they read, in the trailers that they see at the cinema. This is why you don't cast Sydney Sweeney in a female lesbian boxer biopic. You don't make Christy with her, just like you wouldn't make Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, with fucking Clint Eastwood. I'm Alex. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you next week.